What up, YouTube? Welcome back to my weekly training update, documenting all of the training I'm doing, getting ready for Ironman Texas, coming up in 15 weeks, April 2025. Another week of training down and another video to make. Today, just like all the other videos in this series, I'm going to talk about how my training went last week, look at each session individually, then talk about what training I have coming up for the next week, and that'll be it. All right. So getting started, overall, last week's training was a bit of a different week than normal. Had the New Year's holiday, also had some family in town visiting as well. I was still able to have a really productive training week, and I think that overall, the training I'm doing is going really well. Looking ahead, things are going to start to get a little bit tough, but I will back up a second, take a look at last week. We started out Monday with a little bit of like a mini triathlon. These training days are rare. Sometimes my coach puts them on there. Had a short swim, short bike, and a short run to do. And I really enjoy these type of training days, even though it might be a lot of logistics. Driving to the pool, had a 32-minute swim. The main set was 1,000 yards continuous, with the goal being to try to increase the pace every 200. So dropping the pace, getting a little bit faster every 200 yards. So that was 5 different paces that I swam, finishing with the strongest. Great swim, in and out of the pool. Got on the bike, and it was such a beautiful day that I went and did some loops over at the park nearby. Kept it very easy, just went by heart rate, averaged a really low heart rate for me. Average was 125, so a nice easy ride after the swim. And then off the bike, straight onto a 15-minute transition run. Pace felt pretty good. I mean, the weather was great, and I was able to run right around 7:30s for the 15 minutes, just out and back, basically 2 miles, 7:34, 7:35, right around there for both miles, so really consistent. Got that all done before like 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning, so it was a fun little way to start the training week, and I do like those training days when you get to do all 3. So Monday, great start. Tuesday was another 45-minute easy ride. That was another one that I did out on the road at the park, just did some loops. And then Wednesday, January 1st, it was the holiday. I had family in town. I didn't do a structured strength session. You'll see my little box here is red. I do have some PT, physical therapy moves that I've been trying to do, and it does involve doing some core exercises. So I got that done, but not a full-blown strength session. I was happy to sort of take that day easy. Moving on to Thursday, opposite of easy. Thursday was easily the hardest training day of the week. I had to do a double take when I looked at this one. I actually, in the previous video, I looked at it and was just like, oh my gosh. It's not that bad, but it's the combination of 90-minute interval ride on the bike with 5 by 8 minute zone 4 intervals. So that's about 40 minutes of zone 4 effort, threshold effort, working pretty hard. And then right off of that bike, had a tempo transition run, which involved 3 minutes at my half marathon pace, 3 minutes at my 10K pace, and then 3 minutes at marathon pace. The way that panned out, it was somewhere right around, let's see. So I had to break this down into like 3-minute chunks, right? So first 3 minutes, that half marathon pace is right around low 7, so around 6:58 for the first 3 minutes. Then I'm dropping down to 6:40 for the 10K sections, and then I'm slowing down to about 7:07, 7:10 per mile. So those paces, all 3 of those paces are beyond my easy pace range, especially that 10K pace. So looking at that second to last one, I was able to speed up all the way to about 6:26 per mile for that last 3-minute section. But the combination of that interval ride, getting off the bike, and then slamming straight into these paces that are faster than easy pace made for a bit of a challenge. And the 3-minute session, the 3-minute intervals in the session kind of helped it fly by. It was like, okay, I only have to do this for 3 minutes, only have to do this for 3 minutes. That 3-minute at a time breakdown helped it go by pretty good. And I was able to hit all the paces. So the whole 30-minute, I was right on pace, despite it feeling very difficult. So that almost felt like ripping off a Band-Aid on Thursday, just like, all right, 40 minutes of zone 4, and then get off the bike and run hard. Glad that went well. Moving on to Friday, I had the longest swim that I've had in a few weeks. The previous 2 weeks before this, I needed to take my swims very easy. I had some shoulder tendonitis that I was working on recovering from. I ended up cutting down the intervals on this workout. I had 7 by 400. I decided to cut that down to 5 by 400, kept the main set at about 2,000. And I think that was the right call, to just jump straight from like, a 1,200 meter swim to a 4,400 yard swim. I think it was a little bit of a ramp. So building up that volume in the pool slowly, still an hour in the pool, 3,300 yards, great average pace. And I think that I was happy with the way I was able to increase the pace on each 400. So Friday's swim was nice. I also went ice skating at the mall on Friday. Again, with family in town, just looking to get out and do some fun stuff. So about an hour of ice skating, and I could really feel like by the end of it, like the hard brick workout I did the day before, I was like, man, my legs are sore. And then the ice skating, it was kind of like just feeling those sides of my legs just getting a little sore during the ice skating, but that was pretty fun. Now Saturday, I had a threshold test. It says threshold test with the group, but again, with my family in town, I just kind of wanted to get it out of the way. I ended up doing the test here on my trainer, and it was the first time I've done a threshold test with a 20-minute all-out effort. It's the first time I've done one of those in probably 18 months. Reason being, the previous FTP numbers that I was working with, I actually pulled from a ride I did on the road. I had this amazing ride about a year ago. Was feeling really good. It was like a zone 4 interval. About 12 minutes into it, I realized the average power on that ride. I was like, this is like an FTP test. So I just kept hammering for another 8 minutes. Ended up with about 328 average wattage for that 20-minute period, which was a personal best for me. So I just said to my coach, I was like, hey, I just actually did this awesome 20-minute interval on my bike. It's a higher average wattage than my last FTP test. Can I take this and turn it into my new FTP? And my coach was like, sure, that sounds fine. And I've been working with those power numbers ever since. So I was a little bit nervous to get on my bike and do the indoor FTP test, but it ended up working out pretty well. I was able to average 335 watts for 20 minutes, which is an all-time personal best for me. I actually saw like on my Strava when I was done, it was like all-time best power output for 20 minutes, all-time best power output for 8 minutes, all-time best power output for 5 minutes. So it was a great effort. And my FTP has now jumped from 311 up to 318. And I averaged 335 watts on the 20-minute interval. So threshold test done. Heart rate didn't really change. I think my average was 184, which is right around, I think my previous one was 185. So heart rate's good. Those stayed the same. Power zones jumped up a little bit. And I'm really happy that I was able to ride a little bit better despite not having done one of these tests in a while. So on to Sunday. Sunday was a 40-minute run, even though it says long run here. 2 by 1 mile at marathon pace. Got up early, knocked that out, and got that done. So that is last week's training, all done. Good training week. Really proud of that threshold test that I got done. And happy that I just can focus moving forward, knowing that the power zones I'm training in are appropriate for me, because I mentioned it had been like 18 months since I last did one of those. So looking at the week coming up, I am going to have to move my swim. I'll do it right now. I'm going to have to move my swim. I had a swim on the plan today. It is my kiddo's birthday. I had some stuff to do this morning, so I'm going to move that swim to Friday, just like that. I was able to get this easy ride done this morning, did it on the trainer, spent the last 10 minutes of that 45-minute easy ride riding right up at the top of my new Zone 2 power, and that was a fun ride. Just, I'm really glad to have that threshold test done. Moving on to tomorrow. Tomorrow's workout is going to be pretty tough. Tomorrow is a 2-hour, 15-minute bike ride with a 45-minute transition run. So that's a 3-hour brick workout on a Tuesday. Ironman training, baby. Let's go. So the intervals for this ride tomorrow, it looks like 10-minute warm up, 45-minute low zone 3 at 90 cadence, 15 minutes of a break in zone 1, and then the second main set is 4 by 8 minute low zone 4 at low cadence with 2 minutes recovery. I'm doing a lot of these 8-minute zone 4 intervals lately, and my new FTP, the new power zones are going to be slightly higher. It's really going to be pretty similar though. I don't expect the new power zones to be challenging necessarily, or I'm not really intimidated by them. Maybe ride 5-10 watts harder than I would previously and see how that goes. So 2 hour 15 total ride time on the bike with those two main sets. Off the bike, it is a 45-minute easy transition run. I can vibe with that. That sounds good. You know, I'm just gonna have to really make sure that I fuel myself properly. 3 hour total training time. I'm gonna have to take in a lot of carbs, a lot of calories to make sure that I'm ready to get off the bike and run for 45 minutes at my easy pace. I'm glad there's no intervals on that run, and I'm hopeful that this 3 hours will feel really good. Wednesday, we've got pace change 400s, going to the pool, another 4,000 yard plus swim. Main set is 3,200 yards, 8 by 400. Looking to go easy, steady, mod hard, fast, repeat. And it looks like the goal is to have the second 4 be slightly faster than the first 4. So it's essentially 2 times 4 descending set with 400s. That'll be a good swim. On Wednesday, Thursday, things are kicking down a notch. Nice, easy aerobic ride for 1 hour. I will take that on Thursday. That sounds good. Friday, I am doing the swim that I couldn't do today. Pace change 50s. There's 40 by 50 is the main set. That's a fun workout. Looking forward to doing that one too. So I will swim twice this week. Moving into the weekend, I think that tomorrow's training session looks pretty tough, but I think that what I'm going to peg is kind of like the most challenging session is going to be this 2 hour, 15-minute easy pace run. That's going to put me probably well beyond 15 miles, and I can count on one hand the number of times that I have personally run more than 15 miles at a given time. I mean, I obviously ran farther than that when I did Ironman Florida. Did the 26.2 in a little under 5 hours after that bike ride in Florida. I think I did an 18-mile training run getting ready for Ironman Florida, and I think maybe like on my birthday 2 years ago I ran 15 miles, something like that. Like, I have not run further than a half marathon distance very many times, and I'm hoping to become a little bit more comfortable with the idea. And boom, here we go. Training week 6, I have an opportunity to get out there and run what will likely be more than 15 miles, 2 hours and 15 minutes total time. That'll include my walk breaks. So we'll see how that goes. Saturday is a big run, and then Sunday is a pretty big day too. Looking at 3 hours and 30 minutes of a ride. Hopefully we'll be able to get out on the road for that. The description of the workout says to try to keep power in low to mid zone 3. I'll be surprised if I'm able to actually average in my zone 3 power for that long of a ride. I'm not going to really be too hard on myself for that. I think just trying to ride that like high zone 2, and if I'm feeling good, when the conditions are good, riding in zone 3 as much as possible. That'll probably shoot my average somewhere in that high zone 2, low zone 3. The fueling is going to be important on that, just to make sure I can maintain for 3 hours and 30 minutes. And then off of that ride, I have a 15-minute run. Be interesting to see how that run feels. 3 hours and 30 minutes, that's going to be my longest training ride in probably since I was training for Ironman Florida. So again, the Ironman training, here we are in week 6. 15 weeks to go, already looking at kind of stretching my endurance limits with the longest run that I've done in a long time on Saturday, longest ride that I've done in a long time on Sunday, and looking forward to the next week. It looks like I have a 5-hour ride on the next Sunday. So things are going nicely here. The only other thing I wanted to touch on real quick is hopefully I will be finally getting started with a personal strength trainer, starting my sessions next week. and hopefully I'll have an update about that on the next video that I do next Monday. Once again, I definitely want to thank everyone who checks out these videos. If you're interested in asking any questions about the training that I'm doing, if you have any comments about the training that I'm doing, if you think I'm doing it all wrong, please let me know. If you think I'm doing a good job, let me know. Either way, I'm happy to see that. And also shout out to a new subscriber, Swim Bike Run Stu. I was really excited to see that subscription come in because I've actually seen some of Swim Bike Run Stu's videos before, so that's really cool that he went ahead and subscribed to the page. I think that's about it for this week. Right on. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to bringing you an update next Monday after this long weekend training. See how that goes. Keep you all updated. Take care. Have a good one. See you next time.